Good morning, Vietnam! Or good afternoon, wherever the hell you are. We're just a little before 1 p.m. Eastern, so if you're in Braves country, you may be having lunch, or if you're a little earlier over in Central Time Zone or a little further west, then fair enough. But regardless, this is coming to you live if you're a Country Club member on YouTube. Today, we are putting it on Facebook. We won't do that very often, but we just wanted to sprinkle it in over here. If you want to catch it live every single time, become a Country Club member on YouTube. Just 10 cents a day. So, we're going to make these short and sweet going forward because we don't look, unless there's a big issue, I really think we're going to try to keep these at 15, 20 minutes. I have a tendency to ramble on if I don't have it cut off, so we're going to keep it to around 20 minutes today. Not a whole lot to get into, but I do want to go over what happened in the Philadelphia series. I think they showed a lot of grit, a lot of, look, let's be honest, a lot that I don't think a lot of Braves fans thought that they had in them. I think a lot of Braves fans were kind of under the impression this team was laying over and playing dead, and they took 2 of 3 at home. Granted, they were low-scoring games. It was the pitching that got it done for Atlanta, but it's been like that all year long. I see a lot of fans. We see it in our chats. I see it on social media. I see it everywhere. And you will get the idea from them that we have this terrible pitching staff, that we have this terrible bullpen. And, look, the numbers do not support that. I also realize, too, a lot of fans only watch their team in a vacuum. And so when they see their bullpen give up a few runs in a game, they think it's just astronomically insane that can even happen. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you watch other teams throughout the year, I watch a lot of baseball outside the Atlanta Braves because I want to know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't want to just look through rose-colored glasses. And bullpens, game after game after game, get rocked throughout the league, and the Braves have been pretty darn good. Yeah, we've given up our share of runs, but all in all, when you look at the rankings and the fact that, look, we're ranked 3rd right now, but we're just barely in 3rd. We've been rocking 2nd the entire year. That West Coast trip, those runs given up in Colorado, that sunk us a little bit, but I do believe we'll finish the year in 2nd. Cleveland just started out at such an unbelievable low ERA. There's just no way you're going to catch them. I mean, they would literally have to get smoked the entire month of September for Atlanta to overtake them in the bullpen. Our bullpen is lights out. Even with A.J. Minter being gone, and he's gone. He's done for the season. After they announced it, what was it, yesterday? Hip surgery. There's no window where he could possibly be back at some point in the playoffs. He is done. He's cooked. So what does that look like with the bullpen? Well, I still think we're really damn good. You've got, obviously, in my opinion, our best lefty in the bullpen at this point is Dylan Lee. I was very surprised. I was very vocal about it last night. I felt like that late in the game there, he should have been the guy that was called in to be brought in. They didn't do that. They did not do that. They ended up sticking with Pierce Johnson. They got out of it. But it was an incredible double play turned by Gio Urshela. By the way, Gio Urshela, what the hell, man? This guy's been a godsend. Him and Whit Merrifield, you got to think about the chemistry of a double play combo. So 3rd, short, 2nd. And Gio is fit right in perfectly defensively over at 3rd base, which I've always heard that he was a very good defensive 3rd baseman. He was terrible at 2nd. And the reason why the Yankees eventually got rid of him was because they had some some dinosaur over there playing third by the name of Josh Donaldson. They wanted his bat in the line. Well, that backfired, but that's not the point of this show today. Gio Urshela has been phenomenal. Now, he's 32 years old. He's never going to hit well. Once you're 32 and your lifetime batting average is down in the low 200s, that's who you are. That's who you are. But that's okay, because he's just got to spell it until Austin Riley can come back. And really, I talked about this earlier I think it was the last show, but the idea that Ozzie Albies could be back at the beginning of September, you could slide Whit Merrifield over to third. Whit Merrifield has played third. You could do a combo of the two. The odd man out at that point, I believe, will be Luke Williams. And I love Luke Williams. I love what he does for the team. He plays a solid glove. He's got good speed. He's a good base runner, but that's all he brings to the table. He doesn't bring you a bat. How about Adam Duvall coming out of his mind and going 3 for 3? This is a guy who's been hitting 177. He's hitting 177 for the year. Comes out last night after sitting on the bench for how long? And goes 3 for 3 with a home run. And if Schwellenbach had not come through with just an incredible performance, we would have given him being Duvall the game ball. I mean, it was very impressive, but you had to give it to Schwellenbach. Schwell went out there and shoved once again. What was it? 6 2/3 and 9 strikeouts, I believe. I don't have it in front of me. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. And look, I'm with you, Beeve, I guess we'll call you. I've always liked Duvall. I'm a big Duvall fan. How the hell can I not be? I live in Duval County, right? So you want to pull for him. Plus, he's been so big over the years. He's done. He's not who he used to be. But I like the idea of having him on our bench. I really do. I think he can still go out there and play a very good outfield wherever you want to put him in. In a pinch, he can still play center. And I like the idea that as a right-handed power hitter, though he hits for a low average nowadays, he's lost the speed on his bat. It happens when you get that you get older. But I still like the idea of having him on the team. And so when Ozzie comes back, I like the idea of having all the outfielders that we have on the team and adding Ozzie obviously back to the lineup. He would go to second, and I would prefer them to keep Gio Urshela because you got enough outfielders where you don't need a guy like Luke Williams who can play several different positions. And you've got him for defense. You've got him. Look, he came with a big double last night, hit it down the left field line. It was a ground rule double, or that would have been a 2 RBI. But looking at the team right now, and Beav was asking about AJ Minter and where he is on his contract. He is an unrestricted free agent in 2025. So I think they would like to bring him back, but at the same token, do we get a hometown discount, or is he going to want that one big splash? They avoided arbitration last year and paid him $6.2 million. He's going to want to command. Look, AJ Minter is an elite back of the bullpen guy. So for them to retain him, I think it's going to be difficult because they've got other spots that they want to fill, and they've got other guys that are coming into their own. And when you talk about the Atlanta Braves and you talk about that bullpen, even with the injury to AJ Minter, they have got a lights out bullpen. And Iglesias, I don't think he's getting enough love nationally. I really don't. I believe that I don't know how, but he's being slept on. He's been phenomenal. I hate bragging about it because I feel like that then you put too many expectations on it, and then if he falters, the fans are going to go, oh well, there he sucks, because we know how fans are. Fans fan, but he has been phenomenal. Last night he came in, boom, boom, boom. Remember last year he was usually struggling through through closes. He normally got it. He normally got the close. This year, man, he has been locked and loaded. But looking at who we have in the bullpen right now, you're looking at, as far as lefties go, you got Bummer and you got Lee. That's it. So come playoff time, I think they would like to have a third left-hander, but who are we going to push in there? Look, you don't necessarily have to have three left-handers. It's just nice to have. So if you have Bummer in the front and Lee in the back, you've got guys, not only Iglesias and not only Joe Jimenez, who's pitched pretty well. He's had his hiccups, but he's pitched pretty well. Jesse Chavez, I don't believe he's a guy they're necessarily going to want on the playoff roster. They're probably going to put more starting pitchers on there. But Jesse Chavez, in a pinch, can get things done. If Luke Jackson doesn't clean things up, he won't be on the playoff roster. I think you can guarantee, assuming we make the playoffs, you can guarantee who will be on the playoff roster in that bullpen. It's going to be Iglesias. It's going to be Lee. It's going to be Bummer, Pierce Johnson, Joe Jimenez, Grant Holmes. Grant Holmes has been phenomenal. And he is, I'm telling you, he is a very underrated secret weapon that the Braves could have in October. A guy that can come out of the bullpen and fire 2 or 3 shutout innings to either bridge you to the back end or to possibly clean up a mistake of the starting pitcher. That's enormous. Most teams never have that. And so that's where we're at on that. It's being assumed. I see the question from Beeve about Soler and Travis. They believe that Soler's back in the lineup tonight, and most people believe Travis has a good chance, but they're going to have to go through the typical tests and stuff. What do we got here? Lee says the team is freaking great. It's just the key guys that are out there. Yeah, Lee, look, the injuries suck. And look, I'm not going to give you that same tired old line as every team goes through injuries. We have been decimated by injuries this year. I thought we'd been through injuries before. This has just been unruly. When you consider, I mean, I was joking about it, either last night's broadcast or the night before during the game, just talking about the fact that we lead the last wild card, and you look at the lineup, and it's a mash unit. I mean, we've got guys out there. We had, Laureano in right field. That should be Ronald Acuna Jr. Last night we had Duvall in left field. That should be Jorge Soler. At second base, we have Merrifield. That should be Ozzie Albies. We had Urshela at third base. That should be Austin Riley. Sean Murphy behind the plate. The way he's been hitting the ball, that should be Travis d'Arnaud. Hell, let's be honest, that should be William Contreras, but that's another argument. So, and hey, not to mention the fact we had Schwellenbach on the mound, and he was great. But it's somewhere in that series, it should have been Spencer Strider. So we've just been absolutely crushed by injuries this year. This team has showed some grit. I felt like about a month ago, they kind of looked like they were going through the motions. And you didn't like that at all. They were kind of going through the motions. And sometimes it's easy to get your dauber in the dirt. You get gut punched so many times, you're like, my God. And the offense wasn't doing anything. The offense seems to be cleaning itself up. We're not going to get back to last year's ridiculous numbers. But we don't need that, not with this pitching staff. We just need to go out there and have an honest chance to score about 5 runs a game. And if we can score 5 runs a game with this pitching staff, you're going to win a hell of a lot more games than you're going to lose. The starting rotation has been phenomenal. The bullpen has been, I would not take any, and you can make this argument if you want against it. Have at it. There is not a pitching staff in baseball today that I would rather have than the Atlanta Braves. And I'm talking about the starting rotation with the bullpen. There's not a single one. Cleveland has a phenomenal bullpen. And they've been really good, and I'm not going to knock their bullpen. and maybe they're a touch better than the Braves. But I would rather have our starters than Cleveland starters, and Cleveland starters are not shabby. So, and I get it, the Phillies going to tell you, well, they have this great starting pitching. Their bullpen is not lights out. The Braves pitching staff is the best in baseball. We just need the offense to show up. I think it might be, I know this is going to sound weird, but stick with me for a second. The struggles of the offense might help us in October. And the reason why I say that is the last couple of years, we've gotten October, we were flat, right? And look, playing in the first round may help us as well, but put that aside. That's already been assumed by a lot of people, and that's why I've been telling you forever. I kind of want to go the wild card route. I'm no longer worried about the division crown. If we get it. That's great. What I would more interested in, is getting the top wild card, so you're playing at home. Now that's not happening right now, but look, Padres lost one last night. We're now 3.5 out between them and Arizona, and what the Mets are a game and a half out. But we just have to keep winning, and we'll keep scoreboard watching. It's going to be hard to thread that needle to hope that we can. When you got the Mets and you got the Padres playing each other, I'm really more concerned about the team that's right behind us than trying to catch the team 3 games in front of us. So I am pulling for the Padres to win the rest of that series, so we can get a buffer, some breathing room. But back to the whole thing, why I say that the offense why we may benefit from this. So the last 2 years when we fell flat in the playoffs, we had the week off, or almost a week off. Then we got in the playoffs, and we started hitting the first couple of games, and the offense is nowhere to be found. It's dead. They're grinding. They can't get any runs. They're all swinging for the seats, blah, blah, blah. 2 early exits. This year, the mentality has had to be different because they've had to work so hard to get runs. And so this year, there may be something to the fact that because they have a less explosive offense, if we go cold in the playoffs, it's not the end of the world. You're going to find guys like Merrifield, guys like Kelnick who are dropping bunts down, trying to find their way aboard, taking that extra base, going first to third, not sitting there waiting for the 3-run home run. That may make us a little more difficult to beat, especially when you couple it with the best pitching staff in baseball right now. We just got to stay healthy. That pitching staff, I mean, we cannot take any more of these big hits. We might get a bumper bruise here, skip a start as we come down the stretch, but I'm talking about any more devastating injuries. Because if you look at it right now, how I would start the playoffs right now today, you'd say, well, who's your 1, 2, and 3 guys in the starting rotation? I think you have to go Chris Sale, and then you're probably, unless it's a matchup thing, you're going Max Fried and then Raylo. But if for some reason the team you're playing, you want them to have to deal with the right-hander, then you would go Raylo and Max Fried. Either way, you can't go wrong. And then the number 4 starter right now has got to be Schwellenbach. There's just no way in hell I'm putting Charlie Morton out there. Charlie Morton's going to go in my bullpen, and he's going to be a hell of a bridge. If you got Charlie Morton and you have Grant Holmes in that bullpen, you got 2 guys that can spell it. What is Lee saying? They went hard all season 2 years in a row. Yeah. So, but it's more to the point that we may not even be rocking and rolling with our offense in the first round, Lee. It's more to me the fact that because we all year long we've had to struggle and fight to get runs. That's going to make us a little more playoff ready. Because last year we broke all kinds of records. The year before, our offense was phenomenal. And I can tell you from calling the games night in, night out, by every inning, there was a different feel the last couple of years. I mean, look, we were spoiled. The home run clips and all the stuff that we do during the home runs and all that stuff. And man, we were wearing out the board the last couple of years. This year, there have been games where I'm like, man, this game is just not only is it being quick because of no offense, it's been quiet because they're not getting on base. But they've scraped out some of those wins. You look at the wins that they got against Philadelphia this week, none of them did the Atlanta Braves go out there and just go bonkers. It was all pitching all the time. This team is more built like the team in the 90s than they were of the team that won in 21. The team that won in 21, the offense got extremely hot. Remember by the time we got to the back end of the World Series, we had 2 starting pitchers. We had 2 bullpen games there that we ran in the World Series. But this year, what did we score? A total of 8 runs in 3 games? 8 runs in 3 games. And the Phillies scored 6 runs. So it was that close of a series. The winning team scored 3 runs in each game. I just think that when we get to the playoffs, just be prepared for them to have to possibly score 4, 5, 6 runs to win a game. But I believe that the offense is going to be good enough. I think the offense is going to be good. You're only going to have to scrape out about, like I said, 5 to 6 runs a game. You're going to be in very good shape. You score 4 runs any given night, you're usually going to win with this pitching staff. It's very rare nowadays that the Braves give up a ton of runs. I'm looking at their finals. You put the West Coast trip aside, there's very few crooked numbers that come across the scoreboard. When they are giving up runs, it's usually 1 run here or there in an inning, maybe 2. But you don't have the 3, the 4, the 5 spots. And that'll be key. All right, this weekend, talk about this real quick, and then we'll jam out of here. This weekend, we've got a 3-game set at home against Washington. And it's going to be a critical series, I believe. And the reason why I say that is you come off that big win against Philadelphia. So you win 2 out of 3 of Philadelphia, 2 out of 3 against the Angels, 3 out of 4 against the Giants. We've won 3 consecutive series. You can't go out there and lay an egg against Washington. And Washington, I see the Beef saying we should dominate. Yeah. Got to see that to believe it, Beef. Washington, remember, they've had our number this year. And there was a point where Washington was really playing good baseball. They were in the wild card race. Not so much this year. I mean, not so much the last couple of months, but when we were playing, last time we played them was the beginning of June, and they were still playing really good baseball. Remember, the series in Washington, they won 3 of 4, and they took the last 3. Then we had a 4-game series in Atlanta, and Washington won 3 of 4 there. They have dominated the season series with us. They've won 6 of 8. 6 of 8. So when you look at this series, the nuts and bolts of it is this. Tonight, we've got the major advantage with Chris Sale. But you still got to go out there and score runs. Chris Sale versus Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore is a good young pitcher, but he has his moments where he implodes. There are games where he looks like a great young up-and-coming pitcher. There are other games that he goes out there and he gets knocked out early. We'll do more of that on as the game begins tonight. But then tomorrow, it's Morton versus Irvin. That is a true toss-up. If we get the Charlie Morton that showed up the last couple of times out, we're going to be okay. But Jake Irvin has pitched really well this year. He has pitched extremely well against the Atlanta Braves. And then the other one, the final one, is Lopez versus DJ Hertz. And DJ Hertz, who hasn't had a great year, young kid, but he came out and shoved against the Braves. One of his better outings all year long was against the Braves. So you hope the second time around, you see him again, you got the home field advantage. You would hope that you would win the series, but it's not a given. None of these games are given. And then we've got a tough road trip next week. We go on the road for 7 at Minnesota, who's an American League playoff contender right now, and then at Philadelphia for 4. We know how tough that's going to be. So I would think that the Braves are going to win the series. I'm going to take them to win the series. But tonight's key, because if you drop the first game, then it's anybody's bag. When Chris Sale goes on the mound at home, we should win that every damn time, the way he's been pitching. It's also important, too, for Chris Sale to go out and put up some good numbers tonight, because right now he's the front runner for the Cy Young. I'd really like to see Sale get the Cy Young. It would be really cool to see him do that, because he's been through so many injury issues over the last several years, and it would just be phenomenal for him to go out and turn it all around and get the Cy Young. Be a lot of fun to see that. He is right now, I believe, the best left-hander in baseball. And I don't care about Tarek Skubal. I've watched Tarek Skubal. He's really good. But Tarek Skubal's not doing these in big games. Tarek Skubal's team, the Tigers, they're out of it. He's just going out there throwing up big numbers. Chris Sale is in a pennant race, in a wild card race, a playoff race, what have you. And he's out there doing it every night. So right now, to me, Chris Sale's the best left-hander in baseball. I want to see him finish strong so he does get the Cy Young. The problem with this, he is not set up to face the Phillies next week either. They had a chance to massage the schedule. They didn't do it. So I still think that's intentional. I don't think the Braves want Philly to see Chris Sale, because if we run into them in October, they only saw him on opening day. That's a long time ago. The less times that Philadelphia sees who should be our game one starter, the better it will be for Sale. So what does it say? Why do the Braves play at 12:05 on Sunday? It is because it's the Roku game of the week, Robert. That's been going on all year. Roku signed a deal with Major League Baseball this year. If you remember last year, they had the Peacock games that were 11:35. Well, Roku has adjusted that, and most of their games come on at 12:05. They pay extra to be the first game on Sunday, and it's a rotating deal, so that's why it's the Braves' turn. We had one other this year that I actually think the one earlier this year was actually 11:35, but we've had one other early game this year. But yeah, 12:05, the Roku deal. So if you don't have Roku, you're gonna have to get it. It's free on Roku. So if you have a Roku, whatever, whether it's a Roku Smart TV, a Roku box, a Roku whatever, but you have to have Roku to be able to see it. That's the way all these sports are going. All these streaming sports are, what was it? Friday night, opening week of the NFL. You're going to have to Peacock to watch. I think it's the Packers and somebody. So you got your traditional Thursday night game that kicks off the season. Well, now this year there's a Friday night game. So you got Thursday and Friday night football the first week of the NFL season. And it's just going to continue. I mean, the NFL is just basically selling their soul left and right, so that anyone that comes up to the table puts several $1 million on the table, they'll give them a random game, and you have to have that device. And I don't believe, it's not going to do you any good if you got the NFL package, which pisses off a lot of folks that spend all the money for the NFL package. That's not going to get you the Thursday night Amazon games. That's not going to get you the Friday night Peacock game. And it's insane. It's insane what they're doing, and baseball's slowly doing that as well. I don't love it, but they're not putting the toothpaste back in the bottle. They're doing the same thing with college football. You name the sport, they're doing it. The only ones they don't do it in are the sports that nobody's going to go run. In other words, like, no one's going to go get 7 different devices to make sure that they see the WNBA or an MLS game. They're just not going to do it. They're like, screw it. I guess I won't watch it. So those sports are staying in their lane and making sure that if you're with ESPN or whoever, you can see all the games. But all the other major sports, the ones that are really popular, they are all doing it. So get used to it. Yeah, I'm going to take if I was to guess, because I would never predict a sweep, they're too difficult to get. I would love a sweep, but it's just not commonly done. I think Braves had the upper hand tonight with Sale. I think they've got the upper hand on Sunday. The big question will be what Charlie Morton do we get on Saturday? So there you have it. All right, I'm going to get out of here and see y'all tonight. First pitch. It's traditional first pitch. It's back to normal, 7:20. Remember, next week when we're on the road, all kinds of goofy starts. You got 7:40 while we're in Minnesota every night. And then in Philadelphia, 6:40 twice, 7:15 on Saturday, and 7 o'clock on Sunday, because Saturday, Labor Day weekend, the Philly game is the Fox game of the week. The Sunday game is the ESPN game of the week. And if you missed it, you know how we normally do the chat on Sundays and the broadcast on Saturdays? Next week for Philadelphia series, we're going to do the chat on Saturday because it's the beginning of college football season, and we kind of figure there's going to be just more people locked into that. We'll put the chat up, but then Sunday we're going to bring you the game because it's ESPN. And long story short, folks have told us for a while that if it's possible, please do as many ESPN games as you can. And the main reason they just don't like the broadcast team. And I'll be honest, I don't want to sit here and slam folks that can't defend themselves. I'm not a fan of ESPN's broadcast experience either. But luckily, because it's Labor Day, I don't have to be up at the crack of ass on Monday morning on Labor Day itself. So I'm going to do the Labor Day night, Sunday night, Labor Day, however you want to word it. All right, y'all. Good luck. And see VT saying go Hokies. VT, remember tomorrow, 8:30, Saturday morning, 8:30 to 10, our college football show begins. We'll have all the guys back, all the armchair QBs, cover country, but it's going to be right here on Braves Country Radio. We might simulcast from time to time on cover country, but it will be on Braves Country Radio all season long, 8:30 to 10 all season long. You got college football kicking off tomorrow. Of course, it goes into full swing next weekend. Tomorrow's the big game over in Ireland. We'll be covering that. We're going to do our year-long picks tomorrow. We're going to be doing our picks against the spread that we always do. So if you do any college football, NFL gambling, we're going to be the place that you want to go to on Saturday mornings because the other shows don't do it. And if you wonder what the hell this is on my finger, I'm a chef. I cut myself today because I dropped something all over me. And long story short, I went to grab something. So, yeah, there you go. So, there you go, guys. That's exactly what I said to one of my cohorts at work as I was leaving. I said, I got to go talk Braves. And I just flipped the rubber finger, whatever. I don't know. It's some. We were out of Band-Aids. So I had to put this thing together. We'll see you. Have a great day, y'all.